So what I should say is that the opinions that I'm going to express in this video are just personal opinions. I want to make that clear. Let's get on with the video. So let us talk about interest rates. What's going on at the minute, why it's important, why it's in the news. Firstly, interest rates have jumped up an awful lot since 2008. Now, interest rates dropped in 2008 because of the big crash in the markets. They dropped interest rates to stimulate the economy. However, they were kept at a ridiculously low level now for a very long time. So what it boils down to is the fact that people don't like paying for things that they really shouldn't. They don't think that they should have to pay for those sorts of things. So, for instance, the electric and energy rate rises, the fuel rate rises, it's a sort of thing you don't really want to spend your money on unless you have to. So the fact that you're paying more for it now than you were previously is very difficult to deal with for a lot of people. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that interest rates are now only just about where they were pre-2008 crash. So pre-2008, we were all doing business. We had mortgages, loans, and everything else based on similar rates that we have today. So it's not a complete disaster. You can still do business and you can still survive. You just have to price in your outgoings accordingly. So when I took on a mortgage back in 2005, I had an interest rate that was okay. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't brilliant, it was a lot higher than what we've been used to paying in the last 12 years. But I decided to fix that interest rate because in 2008, when we saw the recession starting to kick in, I decided to take a safe option and fix. However, that turned out to be an error because interest rates dropped massively. However, I was still able to afford the monthly payments because I factored it into my overall budget. So if you're into property and you're doing property related deals, you're going to have to factor in current interest rates and also price in some extra percentage rates for movements that could occur over the next few months. So the common theme seems to be that we are trying to battle inflation, and I think the main problem with inflation is that we've had lots of free and very cheap money. We had free money floating around because of all of the COVID crisis and very low rate loans and furlough money to people. People were spending more. The price of things started to shoot up because I think people were getting a bit greedy. The housing market really shot up in the last 2 years, which was crazy because everyone thought it was going to crash because of the COVID situation. So we end up with inflation. I think the current interest rate rise will definitely slow down and will ease the housing market. I imagine it's going to slow down because if you think that, say, a mortgage that I used to have, for instance, a while ago was around £2,000 a month. Now, on current interest rates, that mortgage would cost me over £3,000 a month. So you could see that maybe if I realised that that mortgage was going to go up by that much, I probably wouldn't have taken it on. So I think it will slow down the market, but there will be still people who've got money to spend and they've got the budget for those types of mortgages. So there'll still be people in the marketplace and business still be done. The most important thing to lend to understand from where we were in 2008 is that the banks are still lending. So in 2008, the banks stopped lending because they had this criteria whereby the assets that they held had to be so much higher than the money that they lent out. And the Bank of England stepped in and said you can't do that, so banks had to be bailed out, and that's when we had the crash. So banks are still lending, rates are still reasonable, so it's not quite the situation that you think we're in, where there's a huge problem. There's only a huge problem if you sort of massively overstretch yourself and you now have a mortgage payment coming up for the end of its fixed rate term and you're looking at paying a lot more. Interest rates are still very reasonable. It's not a complete disaster. All you have to do is make sure that you've factored all this in if you are trying to manage your outgoings and look after your expenses. Maybe, for instance, this is a good time for you to go through all of your outgoings like I did recently because I had to file my business account. So I dumped my bank statements for the whole 12 months into a spreadsheet. I went through everything, and I realised that I was paying for quite a few things that I didn't need anymore. So it was a chance to reassess and realign and go forward. And really, in a way, you probably should be living your life the same whether you're in recession or out of recession, because you should have a good cash buffer there. If you haven't got a good cash buffer there, that should be the first thing that you do in your business and your personal life to cover off any changes in the marketplace like we're experiencing right now. So, hope that has helped out a bit. I think maybe we'll see a bit more volatility over the next few months, but then hopefully things should start to calm down once inflation has started to come under control. Banks are still lending, rates are still reasonable at the moment. Everyone is saying there's a recession coming, there's going to be a recession soon, this, that and the other. They don't know. No one can predict what's going to happen. All these people out there that keep saying there's a recession coming, they've been saying that for the last 2 years before COVID. They don't know. They're just guessing. Everyone's guessing, and everyone is putting out content to make people get scared and watch the content, because they know that fear is driving hysteria in terms of what people want to look at. So don't panic.
If I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you. If I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake.